when I was brought into any kind of place that required like heavy documentation, I was translating, right? And so seeing that they don't have to do that, seeing that Hacienda provides professional people, experts in this, it's a huge relief.
And at the end, it's all worth it. You feel like you bought a house.
Yeah.
I mean, when we close a deal, when we finish a home purchase, we go in and we look at the house. We're looking at every room, where it's at, what's around there. So it becomes really, really personal.
Welcome to episode 2 of Raíces de Hacienda. Today, our episode is called From Keys to Community, where we explore the stories that shape our neighborhoods, one home at a time. I'm Sebastian Bishop from Hacienda, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Jules and Juan.
And Isaac. Hi, everyone. I'm Jules Morehouse, and I'm thrilled to be here for episode 2 as we explore home ownership. Thank you both for coming. Have you thought about the moment, and I'm not asking you this, I'm just thinking out loud, have you thought about the moment when someone holds keys to their first home? For many of the families we work with, it's not just about 4 walls and a roof. It's about belonging, stability, and a new chapter of life.
And hi, everyone. I'm Juan Vildosola, and like we said, today we're joined by Ivan and Nora from the Homebuying department. And they had the privilege of handing keys to the people that are getting their first home. And we'll talk about those moments that stay in your heart forever, the impacts of home ownership, and how having a house can change your life.
I'm Isaac Montes, Director of Communications at Hacienda. Thank you for having me.
Ivan and Nora, how about you tell us a little bit about yourselves? You can share your position and how long you've worked at Hacienda.
Great. My name is Ivan Pollock Aguilar. I've been with Hacienda this month 4 years. Started as a counselor, and my current role now is the program manager for the Homeownership department.
Hi, my name is Nora, and I have been with Hacienda for 5 years. I work with the ID accounts, and I also help process all the paperwork when the home buying process starts. I'm also currently work on servicing the Hacienda loans.
And I have a question for both of you. You can answer in any order you like. But the question is, where do you grow up, and what is a memory that really shaped your sense of home?
I was born in Acapulco, Guerrero, Mexico, and I was brought to the United States when I was 4 years old in 1992. In the United States, we lived all our lives in Portland, in St. John's, where we're currently at, North Portland. And home just means like gathering, our family's gathering. We moved here, we had very little family, but as the years went on, we collected friends and family, chosen family. And just home is just having that space where we can all be together.
Yeah, well, I was born in Guadalajara, and I moved here young, and I did start a family here, but I grew up in Mexico, and so I felt like I didn't belong, or I wanted to go back. It felt like I wasn't happy for a very long time. But after you have kids, it's like you can't go back because, your family's here. And the thing with the one thing that's really important to me is feeling like I belong. And in Mexico, usually everybody has a home. And they stay in this home for generations. So everything happens there. All the parties, the sad times, the milestones. And when I arrived to the U.S., I was living in an apartment, and it didn't feel like home. So when I found Hacienda, I felt that community that I was missing, and I don't want to go back. I'm happy. I am able to meet so many people, feel like I belong somewhere. And yeah, a little bit.
How has your cultural background influenced the way you view community and housing? And also, like, you talked a little bit about, like, what is it like to have a home in Mexico and a home in the U.S.? Like,
Yeah.
could you talk about the difference about that?
In Mexico, you live in this one house forever, and you get to know your neighbors, you get to know your neighbor's family, and you're there for generations. And when I came to the U.S., I didn't know my neighbors. I didn't know my downstairs neighbor, my upstairs neighbor. I felt like there was just not that community. And I think that was a big difference. So when I see folks come and, go through the home buying process, and I guess having a home makes a big difference than living in an apartment, because now, like, for example, I'm in a home and we have like yearly barbecues. You get to know your neighbors. Your next door's neighbor's pet goes on your yard and you go take a look. And so it's like a community. You start getting to know people. And I felt like when I lived in an apartment complex, I never felt like that.
Yeah, I grew up also in apartments, growing up in similar, like, you really don't get to know your neighbors well. Not just that, but also there's a language barrier. Right? You're new to the country and you don't speak the language. You're also, depending on the jobs that your parents have, you might not have, that time to build communities because they're working multiple jobs. But as I got older and my family established themselves here in the United States, and both my parents purchased a home, and now we know our neighbors. And now, same to you, where we have, our neighbors over, we build community, we know the stores around the area. It just feels like community.
I feel like it's kind of like a cultural thing. We want to own our own homes, whereas like a lot of other people are just like, yeah, I can live in an apartment for the rest of my life. I don't really care. But like, I feel like for like Latina people, it's always like, yeah, I gotta have my own home, right? Like, What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it goes to what like Nora says, where like in Mexico you have multiple generations living in the same place, and I think that's what we want to do here, where we buy a house and now it's that house is where we live, right? And my mom always like, when are you gonna move back? Because in Mexico that's what they do. My aunts and my uncles live with their parents, and I think that's what we want to do here in the United States.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like at least growing up, I felt like my home was like my backdrop of all my milestones, everything I went through. And it's different. It's different because you feel like you belong,
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. This section is more about the Hacienda journey. What first inspired you to work with Hacienda, and what keeps you connected to this mission?
I think, like I said, I grew up in Northeast Portland, so Hacienda was around growing up. And then as I got, my first job and then my career, moved forward, I saw a posting for Hacienda, and I thought, whoa, great. I read about the mission. I read more about what Hacienda does, and specifically in Northeast, where I grew up. And I thought, why not? I would love to be involved in something that would give back to the community that I grew up in. And the job that I was doing previously to this job, I felt was doing the opposite. It was gentrifying those communities that I grew up in, specifically Northeast Portland. And I thought to myself, I have the skill set. Why not use it to help my community? And I think that ties in also to the mission of Hacienda.
Yeah, well, what inspired me was my own experience. As a single mom of 4, I wanted to buy my own home, and I went for it. I did the whole process, and at the end of the process, my dad actually ended up being the loan borrower of the account. because my credit wasn't okay or wasn't that great. And honestly, I didn't know anything about credit. If somebody would have told me it's your credit, you're gonna get a higher interest, I still wouldn't have understand. And so at the end of the process, we got the home, but the house wasn't mine, it was my dad's. So in reality, I just contributed with money. And so I think that really brings me back to my job and helping others. I didn't know very much English, and so having somebody or a group like Hacienda really does make a difference. If I would have had that, I would have waited and, maybe worked on my credit and then purchased my home on my own.
And I'm interested to know, like, how did you go from like not even understanding it, even if someone told you like, hey, you got bad credit, like how do you go from that to like what you do now? Because now you advise people and like you tell them about their credit. Like how is that?
Honestly, I think somebody told me. It must have been the lender, the realtor, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And I just I feel like I was pressured. I was pressured into purchasing the home because I was already in the process. And Hacienda makes a big difference when a family is purchasing because we walk with them throughout the whole process. If we see something that's fishy or something that's not right, or maybe the inspection has just way too many things, we don't tell them what to do, but we do give, we give them advice. We give them the option, we give them all the options that they can get, and then we kind of walk them through the process. If they do go through it, maybe you'll spend more than you think you have, or you'll have to put into this home because it needs a lot of repairs. And so if I would have had that help, I would have definitely waited, because when I sold that house, it was a big hassle getting my dad back up here from Mexico and just going through that whole process. Yeah.
Can you describe the very first time you saw someone with the keys to their first home?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So there's so many memories. It's hard to remember the first home purchase that I completed or helped with. But there is one family or a family that has stayed with me throughout the whole time. So we had a couple come and, try to be mortgage ready and get through the process. We helped them with an IDA account, which is a savings account that for every dollar you save, you get matched. And at the time it was $3. So for every dollar you get $3. And both got an IDA and started their counseling. Through that, COVID happened, and unfortunately the husband passed away. So what we did is we kept the counseling sessions, we did financial advising, we continued the savings goal, and our client was able to save her $3,000 goal. And so with that, her match was $9,000, and that all went to her down payment. And we were also able to help her with down payment assistance, and she was able to purchase on her own. And I feel like if Hacienda wouldn't have been there, or Hacienda has a very small part in encouraging her to finish the process. And so now she has a home for her and her kids, and she did what she wanted to and what they both wanted to, which was, purchase a home. And the husband's savings portion actually went to the youngest daughter, which we put in a savings account. Yeah, so, yeah.
I don't remember the first time, the first person that I helped purchase a home, but I do remember that when I first started Hacienda, it was in the middle of COVID. I think the previous counselors had left, and so the clients were like, where are we at now with COVID? Can we continue? And just starting off like, all right, let's go dive into the deep end. Seeing how motivated these clients are, like I don't need to reach out to them. They're reaching out to me and saying like, hey, what's the next step? Just seeing that motivation, and then finally getting to the point where they have their home, they're moving in, their kids are excited. I think it's just a story that keeps happening over and over and over again. And really it's what truly brings me happiness at Hacienda. Like we're building that in our own community.
Yeah.
How many people do you think you've helped purchase a home by now? So that you're talking your first kind of family, or the families that stick in your mind. How many would you estimate that you've helped? Ballpark.
Wow, I don't know. I think more than 100, probably, because I've been here 5 years.
Yeah, I would also say over 100.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is.
What's your favorite memory or proudest moment from helping a family become homeowners?
Geez, I think one of my proudest moments was last year. We had 41 home buyers come together with realtors and lenders. And we kind of did like a celebration where we brought everybody together. It was amazing to see so many families. What was really cool was that 2 of our home buyers were neighbors. That was really cool. And I guess seeing them and their families and telling us their stories was amazing. It wasn't like seeing their name on a folder. It was the actual family. That was one of the most amazing moments.
I think, honestly, things that stick in my mind, it's really kids when the parents bring their children. Because I think about my experience when I was brought into any kind of place that required like heavy documentation, I was translating, right? And so seeing that they don't have to do that, seeing that Hacienda provides professional people, experts in this, it's a huge relief, because instead of the kids coming to Hacienda stressed about what does this mean, they get to enjoy and be part of the journey as well. One of the families that we helped a couple years ago lives right by me, and I see them playing with the kids all the time. We wave at each other, and it's so awesome to go from the story of like, we live in an apartment, there's 5 of us, the kids are growing, they need their own space, to seeing them literally play around, building whatever they want to build. It's amazing. And then again, in my neighbor, like a couple blocks away. So just seeing kids really like not have to stress about that and then have their own space is, to me, it's my favorite part of my job.
That's so great. Okay, let's move on to impact and reflection of your job. I want to do number 7.
You do it, I can't see.
Okay. Can you share a moment when you witnessed housing truly transform someone's life?
Yeah, if we had a Latino home fair in 2023, and we had a couple, Lydia and Ivan, come in, and they just went in because they saw there was an event, and Lydia ended up winning the raffle for that year. And so that encouraged them to sign up and become clients. And they went through so much financial issues and personal issues, and they were able to overcome that and were mortgage ready at the perfect time and recently purchased last year. They were also able to apply to Business Oregon grant, which again, it was like the perfect time, and now they're homeowners.
Nice.
And that was amazing.
Quick question. Is that Lydia that also is with Empresarios?
Maybe. We share clients.
The crossover. Yeah. What about you, Ivan?
Oh, yeah. One of our clients, Norma, I've known this person for a while. She was actually a teen mom at 16. Wasn't sure if she was going to be able to even like finish high school, but she ended up finishing high school and then went on to go to college and got 2 different degrees.
Wow.
But even with her degrees and all that she had done, she still felt like she would tell me like it's impossible for me to get a home. So I have been talking to her about Hacienda and the things that we do. And just recently, last year, also with the help of Business of Oregon, she was able to purchase her first home. And I see them maybe once or twice a month, and just like seeing how excited they are to get into a home. They're talking about what they're going to do with their backyard, how they're going to paint their walls. And I talked to Norma, and just having her being like, what an example it is to my child who, from I'm a teenage parent, I don't know if I'm going to finish high school, to finishing high school, college, and now a homeowner at just 31 years old. I'm like, bravo to them. What an inspiration.
Yeah, that's amazing. What's a story from your work that has stayed with you long after the keys were handed, or they received the keys?
That's a really hard one. I think, honestly, every family I feel connected to in some way. It's hard to pick one. I honestly think that I see myself in every single one, especially when we work with the Latino community. I see the struggles, and even though I don't do the whole process, helping them just with the documents itself is like crazy, because I remember not understanding or knowing what you're signing off to.
Yeah, likewise, all the clients, they all have their own different journeys and their own stories, and you can relate to some more than others, but you can always relate to your clients. And I think just having that connection, the language, having access to things, we're not just us, like, here's what Hacienda brings, but it's also like, here are partners that we work with who will provide you the same information or even more information than we will. And just having, again, the safe space where people can come into our offices and talk about home ownership, but also tell us about their stories, their struggles, the things that are going on in their lives, the things that are excited about. You really build that connection. I mean, most of our clients are in the program from a year to 2 years. It's not like people come in and then they're gone. And on top of that, now with post-purchase service, we get to continue the journey with them to ensure that they, maintain that hard work that they put in to purchase a home, and then kind of push that to their children. So all of it it's amazing, and I love that we can continue to stay connected with these people.
Yeah, that's so cool. So it is an emotional process for sure, and you get so connected. What is the reason you stay? The reason you say, this is why I do this?
For all the reasons that we just said, right? So the community, to build the relationships, to be that place where people can go to be that person you can count on to say, okay, I don't know this, but I know that Ivan, Nora, Brenda, any of those team members, Hacienda has my back, has truly, what's best for me and my family. And of course, the culture at Hacienda, right? The culture, the people at Hacienda, we're all in this together. I feel connected to all the employees at Hacienda, because I believe that we truly all are there for the same reasons, to help each other in our community.
Yeah.
Now, we've all been there. I remember when I was little, I used to go with my grandmother to like the Social Security office and having to translate, right? Because she didn't speak English. So, it's funny how we're all kind of drawn to this mission, and we can kind of see ourselves in it.
Yeah. I don't think that there is a home purchase that we have completed that has been like smooth. Yeah. No, there's so many emotions. It gets really hectic, and the timelines, man, and the documents, and just being there for them. And at the end, it's all worth it. You feel like you bought a house. Yeah. I mean, when we close a deal, when we finish the home purchase, we go in and we look at the house. We're looking at every room, where it's at, what's around there. So it becomes really, really personal.
So talking about those challenges, what does Hacienda do to help people overcome? You've talked a little bit about it, but can you go a little deeper about how does Hacienda help people overcome those big challenges?
I think we help them by providing information, right? Providing information and access to things, right? Like I think Nora was saying earlier about credit. When I was 18, I got a credit card. I didn't know anything about credit, and that's how I learned. I racked up a lot of debt without knowing. And so I think one of the ways that we can help families overcome those hurdles is by educating them, right? Educating them on the systems, educating them on how you can improve your credit, what a savings look like, what you can do with your money, right? I think there's a conception that you use your money to pay bills and then to put to store into a savings, but you can do so much with your money. And I think one of the best things that Hacienda does is educate people, inform them in their own language. I love having an education class in Spanish, because you get so many people. It's like, no sabía, I didn't know that. Like, this is the first time I've heard that. And these folks are purchasing homes, so they're in their 20s and 30s. So I think just having that really, really strong educational piece really helps people understand and overcome, and kind of feel they feel like they themselves can do it. Of course, with our support, but that confidence that they need to say, I got this.
Yeah, and in those classes, we bring a lender and a realtor in both, English and Spanish, and they also help teach the class. And so our clients are able to ask personal questions and have access to a lender without going into a bank and feeling kind of like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's not the right time, or so that makes it more special, having that access. And education, our counseling sessions, our one-on-ones.
How do you help clients get over the feeling of like, I don't belong here?
I think we really go into our one-on-one counseling sessions. They usually are around an hour, and so it's like Ivan said, our clients are usually with us for sometimes 3 years. So that's a long relationship. And so we really go in, in with the budget, the credit, and we make an action plan. And so we review this action plan every month. So it becomes personal, and it becomes something special, and now it's like, now we're not working together. Now we're going to get through this together.
So you kind of help them build the confidence.
The confidence,
'Cause I would imagine going into a meeting with a lender and a realtor for a first-time home buyer, especially if you're an immigrant or maybe you don't have generational wealth, that can be really intimidating, right?
Definitely, yes. We also do a lot of workshops where we get to meet them, and they get to see what we do, who we are. And once they see us and we see them, it even becomes more personal. Yeah.
I want to ask a question about, I guess, like a little bit about the future. So just to provide context, like you probably know and are aware of this, but like a lot of like giant like hedge funds are like buying a bunch of homes, because like if you leave cash in the bank, like inflation's gonna eat at it, but the price of homes always go up, so it's like a very safe investment. But that has made it so like a lot of people, or like almost everyone that I know from my generation, they all are saying like, I'll never be able to buy a house, What do you say to them?
I would say to them to look at our clients who have been in the program for 1, 2, 3 years. They come in with the same mentality, right? We're like, I can never become a homeowner. And we educate them. We work with them with the market that's current, right? And we can't predict the future, but we can look at what's going on today. And like Nora said, those one-on-one sessions are a really good place to kind of give them an idea of, where the market is, what they're going to need. And slowly we build a confidence, because if we tackle one thing at a time, because to purchase a home is a big thing. You're talking about a $400,000 to $500,000 to $600,000 loan. You're talking about all those documents. You might need assistance from somebody. You might need somebody else to co-sign. So walking through those processes step by step really, really helps bring all those things into like kind of a place where we can just do one thing at a time, and once we get there, it'll go on. So it is possible. I would tell them that it's absolutely possible, but they need to start now, right? I think if we wait, there's a lot of what I hear from my clients or potential clients. It's I'm going to wait till the housing market cools. I'm going to wait till the interest rate. And realistically, we don't know if that's going to happen. But what I do tell my clients is that the longer you wait, there's going to be other people who are going to prepare themselves now, who are going to purchase those homes in the 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then when you start that, you're going to be behind 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. So it's possible. We're here to help.
Yeah. Cool. Next question. If you could leave our listeners with one message about the power of homeownership, what would it be?
I would say, buying a home is breaking that cycle, building wealth. And there's a question that it's always asked in our ABCs. That is, they ask, when is it a good time to buy a home? And our realtor always says, yesterday. Yesterday was the day. It does, it creates, it creates generational wealth, yeah.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. If you could leave our listeners with one message about the power of homeownership, what would it be?
I would say that homeownership is something that isn't going to be easy, but something that is worth it, right? To when we talked about our experiences of like living in a home and what it creates community, it creates a safe space, it creates all these things that housing does. What I would say is to never give up on that dream, to know that Hacienda is here for you, and it's possible if you put the work into it. If you are with the right people, it's absolutely doable.
Nora, you mentioned the ABCs. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that class?
The ABCs of Home Buying is a 6-hour class that we usually have it on Saturdays. It's an in-person class. We invite a lender and a realtor. We talk about the home buying process. What goes into the home purchase, what are the steps you need to follow, and what are things that you need to look out for. And our realtors also have a section where they talk about what they do, what the process is with the realtor, and the lender will go more in depth about how to apply to a loan, and what's a pre-approval, and what does a loan look like, and what does a loan payment look like. So all these things that we don't know, that are hard to read when you're in the process, and it's a really good class. Yeah.
Do you feel like your potential clients walk away with that confidence?
Yeah, everybody that walks out of that class walks out so excited and motivated. And we have one every
2 months. Yeah, in English and Spanish.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so in looking ahead, when you look into the future, what does community through home ownership mean to you?
Community through homeownership means that our community helps each other out, right? We're there for each other even before we purchase a home, right? We're the first step in like this dream of purchasing a home, regardless of the neighborhood. But once they purchase a home, I love the idea of those people who went through a process, talking to their friends, talking to their families, talking to their people they may know that say, hey, Hacienda's helping me out, helped us out, purchase a home, and now we live in this space. And just having more of that, building that community of potential clients, helping each other out, and us being the center of all that.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I have another question. Does Hacienda sell houses?
Hacienda currently does not sell houses. We get that question a lot. Unfortunately, we don't. We would love to. I mean, I guess, I'm speaking for myself. That would be awesome. But currently, we do not.
Yeah, I knew that was one of the questions that people make a lot, so I just want to make clear for everybody. Well, thank you for joining us today on this episode From Keys to Community. Listening to you both has been very inspirational. I feel like a lot of people are going to walk away from this episode knowing that maybe they do have a chance, right? Like they have the power to build a home, build generational wealth, and a community.
Awesome. And I just want to let our listeners know that if you'd like to learn more about how Hacienda is helping families find not just houses, but homes, visit us at haciendacdc.org.
I'd also like to let our listeners know that on September 6th, Hacienda is hosting their 26th annual Latino Home Fair. This year it will be done virtually, so if you go to Hacienda's homepage, you will find the information there. Please sign up. We're very excited to talk to you all about our programs and what we could do for you and start the process of becoming mortgage ready.
And from the Latino Home Fair, how many people walk away and become clients?
I don't have an exact number, but quite a few, right? Because the Latino Home Fair isn't just us presenting things. It's us presenting, but also introducing to our partners, lenders, realtors, other organizations that could help you purchase your home. So The exact number, I don't know, but
Yeah.
for sure, many.
Yeah. It's a beautiful event. It's
Absolutely.
People walk away from that event and talk about the confidence from ABC. Like they walk away and they're really. What did you take from? I know you work really hard on the Latino Home Fair as well, Nora. What do you take away from it?
I love the Latino Home Fair. It's a lot of work, but we do have a lot of folks come through the Latino Home Fair. There's always prizes. We get to bring in all our partners, our lenders, realtors, and other nonprofits and resources. So it's like a big resource fair. And I honestly, I think it's a really good opportunity. If you're thinking about buying a home or, just thinking about it, the Latino Home Fair is a perfect place to start.
Mm-hmm. And where, Yvonne, again, do they find that information?
Yeah, they're going to find that information at hacienda.com.
Hacienda.org.
I'm sorry, hacienda.org.
HaciendaCDC.org.
That's right, boys. Thank you. HaciendaCDC.org. You'll be able to find that information there.
And the date again?
The date is September 6th. The first classes should start around 10 in the morning, and the last class will be ending around 3.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, until next time.
Until next time.
Yes, until next time.
Keep dreaming, keep building, and keep creating community one key at a time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.